It's one of the, you can drive it in a semi-spirited manner with other people in the car without physically disrupting them when you take turns. You can drive it with a nice I think you're benefiting these days, maybe not buying the Lexus and buying the Toyota, like the engineer from the top down, right? Like an Audi or something. It's kind of what I'm feeling. But to preface, I don't know a whole lot about this car from a stat and real fact standpoint. I'm giving you what my initial real-time impressions are. So all you Lexus fanboys, calm down out there. Howdy, welcome back to the Addicted Motors YouTube channel. My name is Troy, and behind me we have a 2023 or 2024, it's just a pretty much brand new Lexus RX350 hybrid all-wheel drive. Brand new, it has less than 1,000 miles on it, and I'm gonna talk to you about it without doing any research into the specs, pretty much anything about it. We're gonna go straight cold turkey and try to figure out what a new car is these days, because it's a question I've been asking myself a lot. What do you actually get with a new car that makes it better than, let's say, an older model? So stay tuned. Now, this particular RX350 belongs to my father. He just purchased it. My brother works at the Lexus dealer in Charleston, South Carolina. He previously had a 2020 or 2021 Audi SQ7. So the baby Urus with the 4-liter twin turbo V8, 7 rows. That truck was, I'm gonna call it a truck because it was probably one of the best vehicles all around. User-friendly, fun, powerful. I wouldn't say economical, but just kind of a decent package. You could pretty much do anything with it. Took it up to the cabin. It was a highway monster. It got around 20 mpg. It's got 4-wheel steer. It has like 500 horse. I mean, it was just the full package of a kind of sleeper German SUV that does all the things in comfort, style, and a little bit of anonymity. And I just thought that was so cool. Air suspension, the whole 9 yards. But with this round, he went with something a little bit more muted. So again, Lexus RX350. What we're gonna discuss today is that whether it fits the bill, and does this car have any identity? Or is it just trying to do too much at the same time, which we'll kind of get into in a little bit. Like I said, this is gonna be a completely uninformed cold turkey review. I know nothing about it besides I've driven it twice, and we'll form some opinions on it together. How about that? Now, we'll start from the front of this thing, right? It has the corporate Lexus nose on it, which isn't great. Let's be honest. It's a little much. It's bulbous, it's protruding. I'm not sure what the idea was here. Again, this thing only houses a 4-cylinder with a mild kind of hybrid booster. I'm sure that drives the rear wheels or something like that. I'm not sure. It is a semi hybrid setup. But again, you got the corporate Lexus front end that you see on pretty much all the other models. It's not the worst, but it's overly long, and I don't know, aesthetically is not very pleasing, especially when the back of the car also tapers. I'm not sure, maybe it's just me, but I don't think anyone's saying that this is the best looking one that they've made. I mean, the headlights are fine. It is nice to see a car with a longer hood and whatnot. This kind of black metallic is pretty nice. It's not a flat black or anything like that. There is a nice little sparkle to it, so you know, it's not as drab as it could be. The muted badges, you know, I get what they're going for. But it just doesn't check any boxes for me in the aesthetic category. Well, the back I think is better, right? I think this is the back that I was integrated, I think, with the NX, the smaller one, a few years ago, and it's kind of translated to the larger RX as well. Again, the badging doesn't mean anything. It no longer has a 3.5 liter or a 3.3 liter V6 anymore. They're all 4-cylinder hybrids now. I don't believe it's even turbocharged, which is unfortunate from a power standpoint. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I like the single, you know, Cayenne Macan-esque light bar and whatnot in the back. It's fine. There's no, these vents are fake. There is a 2-inch tow bar, which makes a little bit more user-friendly, but there's no exhaust pipes or anything like that. There is slight mud flaps. So yeah, it's fine. It is what it is. All right, so the side profile, I think, is where things start to get a little bit wonky. This area between your elbow zone, right, your window, and the bottom on both these doors is huge. It's so big. It's absolutely massive flat space. And then this swooping rear window thing, I think, who else has that? Like a Chevy Traverse. There's a few modern vehicles that incorporate this kind of design aspect, which I don't think is very flattering. This actually is a small window, but I don't really get it. It's kind of busy. The whole design bit of the car seems to focus on the front end by kind of bringing the back end to a point, but they make smaller Lexuses if you don't want any rear trunk space. So it's a lot of, they're trying to make the car appear smaller. I'm not really sure what the overall goal is. It's odd how nose heavy, at least appearance-wise, they're trying to make the car. Now again, it is an appliance, but it's a Lexus appliance. So my expectations going into it should have some of that Lexus feel to it, that you'll have experience in the past with Lexus LXs and GXs and even ESs, the comparable Camry or the Land Cruiser. There's something a little bit Lexus-y from the soft touch materials that you definitely feel, smell, and experience that makes it a little bit different. So that's why I'm worried that their brand like kind of loyalty when it comes to that slightly higher level of quality, as the two brands come together and there's cost saving things going on, it doesn't feel so special. So let's go on the inside and then take it for a drive and see what has translated and what might just be lost in translation between the two brands. All right, so the first thing you'll notice is they don't have real door handles anymore. Nope, it is a button. It's a little button that you push that opens from the outside, and you do the same on the inside. Again, it's very slight, it's subtle, but a lot of manufacturers are going towards this. I'm not gonna say that before that there was always mechanical links between door handles. That's something that's been going on for a while, but now it's completely gone. They're no longer hiding it at all, and just kind of is what it is. It came with nice rubber floor mats, but again, this carpet and whatnot, it's just kind of like a Camry. You know, that's really this kind of hard black plastic, and maybe because it's got a black interior, which I like black interiors, piano black, and it's kind of all over the place, but the steering wheel, it's okay. It does feel like a I think you're benefiting these days, maybe not buying the Lexus and buying the Toyota, like the engineer from the top down, right? Like an Audi or something. It's kind of what I'm feeling when I'm touching and kind of going through the materials. Again, just kind of justifying the price and, you know, deciding this versus the comparable Toyota. Okay, sitting in the cockpit, let's just take a quick scan through everything. You know, a little bit of design language from maybe, you know, the LC500 from a few years ago. Maybe that's what inspired a lot of what we have going on in here. You know, piano black, you've got some seat controls on this side, all very user-friendly for the most part, but what makes this a Lexus? You get this same size screen and whatnot elsewhere. But yeah, again, not bad at all, just doesn't feel very Lexus-y. The shifter, we'll get into that. It's interesting. You just have to learn the new shift patterns and whatnot. Very large screen. Again, this dash is to me a little LC500-y. It's got a pretty cool dual action rear view mirror. You press a button, it turns into a camera. There's no panoramic roof or anything like that, which I'm fine with. I don't need that. What else is there? You know, you got good storage down here. I don't even know if this is lift up or fold. Oh, there's a button. All right, good storage in there. Paddles. You've got paddles, but I'm pretty sure this is a CVT, which is very odd, and we'll kind of get into the driving bit in a second. You know, my first thought is it does feel cool. I don't like a huge windshield. It's kind of, you know, cockpit-esque, kind of a thinner windshield. You're kind of set back, and you feel very enclosed, very safe, very quiet in here, which is nice. But again, you know, it's just, you kind of feel like they're replacing real luxury and with different UX technology, like pretty much everything else that's new these days. So that's the front seat. Let's jump into the back. You press the button, classic Lexus Toyota beep. Same deal back here. It's not It's got fine headroom and whatnot, like your head can go up higher than this. I can sit comfortably behind myself, but if you put two people back here in a car seat and whatnot, I do remember the old RX350s to be very roomy on the inside, and this one with this kind of more of a sloped rear end doesn't feel like it's as big. I'm sure it's bigger on paper. You know, this is how this works. Let's jump into the back. Again, the trunk space is fine. It's like it's bigger from probably a low deck standpoint than other comparable things, but with this hatch being so far forward, anything you put in here has to be pushed towards the back. It won't fit anything larger. And again, this isn't the RX. Never thought of it as the coupe. I kind of thought of it as almost a SUV, CUV, semi-full size. But if you need room, you're gonna get a Highlander. So, you know, this is the identity of this car, and it's kind of, this is the car your parents buy. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not saying that just because mine did, but talking about the full feeling of the kind of semi-confused, triple use, trying to slam everything into one package that this car is. The appeal of, if you drove something comparable, I believe from Mercedes or BMW, you know, that's what I'm trying to get into, especially with not much experience or knowledge. Why do you buy this one? All right, so we are in the RX350. Again, not a bad place to spend time. Let's adjust the seats here. We'll turn it on. The power button's up top here, which I guess is nice. It's not hidden behind a stalk or anything like that. Again, user-friendly. You know, it's like it's, you know, a flip phone for the modern day. You know, it's kind of just marketed towards, you know, less tech-savvy people. I'm not sure. That's just the feeling that I get. So the car's on. Now, one thing that I like is a hybrid and not just a petrol or diesel-powered car that tries to do start, stop, and other annoying features to gain a 1 mpg or something. You know, when you have a mild hybrid like this, there is no aggressive start, stop, or anything like that. When you start it, it's an EV mode. That transition is absolutely seamless, and it is very nice and smooth. The downside of that, though, is it is a 4-cylinder, and you can't hear it. I was going to say you'll hear it here in a second, but you won't, because it definitely has that raspy 4-cylinder kind of drone. And let's pull out here, and we'll get more into that. But to preface, I don't know a whole lot about this car from a stat and real facts standpoint. I'm giving you what my initial real-time impressions are. So all you Lexus fanboys, calm down. Taking off in EV mode, it's nice. I'm gonna put it in a sport mode, whatever that does. And again, coming from a 500 horsepower all-wheel drive Audi, it's just not the same. I wish I didn't have that first experience coupled with this secondary experience. Now, we'll give it a little go here in a second, because again, I'm pretty sure it does have a CVT. All right, let's give her the beans. Now it's transition 30. Yep, we were CVTing all the way up there. There was no audible shifts. Now what happens when I hit the paddles? It seems like I'm shifting, but the engine just makes different noises and runs at different RPMs. So I feel like that's a simulated CVT shift, which is something that manufacturers do these days. Even electric cars have the simulated, even, you know, I think the Ioniq 5 R has it, which is again, it's pretty neat. It's fine. The acceleration is very much like an electric car. As an appliance type vehicle, it's fine. But again, when you want a little bit more, I can't see someone with automotive, like, you know, a little bit of automotive taste being like, oh, this is it. This is what I want. Now, as far as ride comfort and everything, this is where, you know, this chassis starts to shine a little bit. It's very neutral and balanced, and I say that truthfully without any facts backing up the power to weight or weight distribution stats. So, you know, I took it on a few curves and turns and twists yesterday down by Cindy's lake house, and the chassis felt very balanced despite the actual physical look of this, the kind of nose heavy, you know, aesthetic of the vehicle. Feels very balanced. It feels very tight. There's very little body roll. It's very little lean, and the steering, there's a little bit of feedback, and it feels very fine. It matches, you know, the linear power delivery and whatnot. So all of that actually is pretty good. You know what I mean? You can drive it in a semi-spirited manner with other people in the car without physically disrupting them when you take turns. You can drive it with a nice, without, you know, being too disruptive. Let me give it some power again. There's no downshift click or anything. It just wee, 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 wee. And there's 50-ish. So no sensation of speed and power, just a constant, steady flow of onward acceleration. Now, you also have a heads-up display, something that I do like. I think he's got this set so it just displays miles per hour. All of this is okay. It's not incredibly intrusive. The seats are comfortable. Like I said, it is just engineered to be good, acceptable, not offending. Which, again, is better than bad. I think you know, when you talk about how to judge cars, something that's very good is less discernible than bad. So, you know, just being okay, I think, is par, which is in essence good when it comes to new car. Again, brakes feel great. Ride is nice. It's very nice and quiet in here. Oh, I lost my mic. That's wonderful. All right, I do have the mic. I just couldn't see it. That's fine. But okay, let's wrap this up full circle. If you're still watching, I hope I haven't bored you to death. Let's talk about, again, the reasons why someone would or wouldn't buy this. I think you're buying it for the nameplate. You're buying for the brand heritage of an RX. They're generally considered to be nice, reliable, non-offensive, long-term vehicles. You know, it's not built to serve any main purpose, but can serve everything else. Whatever your use case is, fine, enough. Or comfortably getting in and out of. They have enough space to do things. It's not a family car, I don't think. It's not a personal coupe, but it does check a lot of boxes. Just, I don't think it nails any of them completely. The range, I'm not sure what the tank is, but I think the range is around 390, 400 miles, which I'm hoping is a smaller tank because that doesn't seem very impressive. With the mild hybrid and the 4-cylinder, you're averaging about 35 miles per gallon. I don't think that's very good for such a modern, low-powered vehicle. I would expect a little bit more. I'd rather have more power and maybe less MPGs. You know, I don't know how that's supposed to be achieved, but you know, I would like a little bit more range out of the car as a whole. Ergonomics, it's fine. I think the cabin probably intrudes a little bit more into your living space than I would like, but it is very comfortable. There is plenty of technology. It doesn't, I don't think, I'm guessing a lot of things aren't standard. This doesn't have like full lane keep assist or self-driving or anything like that. But if you're buying an appliance, I feel like you kind of do want that, honestly. But this is not, doesn't feel like something you keep forever or long term. It doesn't have that Lexus-y, that Lexus-y essence of like, this is something I'm going to keep forever. This is my, you know, personal bank vault, or the quality here is absolutely unmatched. I think, you know, the Lexus definitely had that in the 90s and 2000s and even up to recently. I don't want to go too far into that, but you know, it definitely is a thing. And I'm looking at another RX here, an RX450h, like a 2012, and that's actually pretty good looking. I don't know what the deal is with this one. This one got hit with a different type of stick, but you know, it's supportive, it's comfortable, it sits everybody, it's absolutely fine, it's not offensive, and it serves its purpose. And again, none of those are bad things. It's just not the most impressive thing I've ever driven, if that makes sense. So there it is, an uninformed review of a car I know nothing about. I hope you enjoyed it. Before we take off, let's just pop the hood, because I don't think you care. I'm not sure I care either. There could be a hamstrum there or just a big battery. It wouldn't really matter, but I guess we should look at it. Ah, here we have it. A brand new engine, very clean, very shiny, very boring. It's there, it's tiny. It doesn't, I almost expect it to kind of sit back behind the axle, but it does sit up here, which is kind of impressive that you don't feel it, but you got all this nose. I mean, what is this, a 70s muscle car? Like, why do you have 2.5 feet of nothing in the front of a modern vehicle? Aerodynamic, pedestrian safety, I think it's just a little bit excessive that you have about 2 feet from the front of the wheel to the nose of the truck, car, SUV, hybrid. So, bop. So what you really have to ask yourself here, when you're gonna spend, now, okay, this was, I think, $66,000. You're gonna spend $66,000 on a mid-size CUV, SUV, whatever you wanna call it. Where are you spending that money? Is the Lexus brand, what you're getting for this product, better, more interesting, longer lasting, higher quality than some of the other similar brands for the price point? Or is it still higher than the price point? I don't have a comparison or anything like that, but I was recently in a Hyundai Palisade, and I thought that was a little bit quicker and more interesting on the inside. And it was probably still 59, 60 grand, but it's like, where do you want to spend that money? How is this getting your dollar over something else? And I'm not really finding the silver lining that really says, yes, this is worth more or less of a premium than some of the competitors. And not that I've been in a lot of other modern CUV, SUV vehicles, but I'm just not getting that feeling of the comparable, oh, but it's a Lexus. Like, that used to be a very distinguishable feature or a feel, smell that you had before, and it doesn't translate very well to this sector. Maybe the other things have gotten worse, but I haven't been unimpressed in other interiors though. So this one's interesting. So it's a tough one. So again, very interesting. Like a Porsche Cayenne GT or the Coupe, it just kind of doesn't checks a lot of boxes for a lot of people. Maybe not all the boxes for myself. I definitely couldn't probably use it as a full-time family car, but as the parents' car that holds the people when it needs to, and the things, and the Costco runs, and put the bike rack on. It's very functional, comfortable, and fine for that. Is it worth whatever the premium was? I'm guessing it was probably $62,000+. I'm not sure. I think if you drive a comparable X3 or X5 or GL or GLC or something like that, you might go, ooh, this is a little more special, especially for a car that you're not buying these to keep forever. I just don't think people keep modern cars for a very long time. You just kind of, trade them in every couple of years and keep going. So, that's the issue. I think when you're buying, historically people bought Lexuses to keep for 10, 15 years. I don't think they're doing that anymore. And I'm not sure if the quality behind that is even up to that standard anymore. So you don't need a Lexus that'll last you that long, because you could just get something else, I guess. So that's my thoughts. If you find any of this interesting, please like, subscribe, mention in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Yeah, not really know what that's showing either.